So the next part of this is me talking about how it's important to correctly house somebody. Landlord was making a big deal about getting us out there. She wanted to sell the house at this point, and basically was pushing through the system to get my son at this point out of the property. The property was still as a family home in our name, but they knew that it was just my son living there at the time. So they were able to push between the eviction notice in and the property being deemed as I'm having to be out of there to get my son accommodation. Now they said, "Oh, we found somewhere." The council found somewhere. I thought, "Oh, thank God, fantastic." They said it's ready to move into. Social worker realised when we actually I went to see the place even before we got a viewing, and the very first thing I said to my partner was, "This is just a joke, what they're offering them. Location, size of property, layout of the land." Anyway, I phoned up the social worker and I said, the council are crazy. This is a disaster. Anyway, the OT had been out and she'd agreed that it could work short term, but it was the only thing available, the council said, that was going to safeguard my son from homelessness. And my son could not go through the homelessness sector the way we were having to. So I had to sign for the property, but I did sign on the lease, which they saw. I'm only signing for this property to prevent homelessness. And as a legal guardian, it's my job to safeguard him. So it was homelessness or taking what the council offered until such time as something better could be offered. A lot's been done to it. Anyway, the property was offered to my son December of 2021, and it took to the first week in May 2022 before he could move in there. Because it was such a state. They were like, "It's moving condition." We were like, "You must be joking." And he was in the property about 6 weeks and the floor started to capsize, like buckle. A couple of weeks before he moved in, there was a gas leak. The whole system had to be replaced. So I don't understand how that system could have been capped off. And then when my son took over the property, as in I signed for it, where that I'd asked for when the guy uncapped it, because it was December, to put the heating on so that the house was warm through the winter months. This was in December 2021. So he'd done that, and then we had booked in a painter and decorator guy to go in and rip the guts out the place, basically. On the Monday, he did show up, and he was there by, I think it was a few hours in. He said, "I'm going to have to down tools, Lars." I said, "Why? What's up?" And he said, "Because your son's property smells of gas, and there's a strong smell of gas coming from your son's hall cupboard." So he downed tools, and I phoned the council, and the council said I had to phone up this emergency service, which I did. And the guy asked me what was going on. I told him, and he said somebody was out within a couple of hours. And the guy contacted me back, and he said if I had to put a sticker on your son's system saying that it's unsafe, your son's system's got a major gas leak. I was like, holy crap. So I contacted the council back and I said, "I don't understand how when this guy uncapped the gas and turned it on that he did not smell that, because the heating would come on quite quickly." So yeah, I were a bit sceptical about that, but anyway, so they then said, right, nobody's to go in and out of the property. This was Thursday or Friday, I think, at this point, by that point. And we'll have somebody out on the Monday, which was, I think, the 28th of April or something. And then the guys come out and they ripped the whole system out, put a brand new boiler in, new dials, new digital a control panel thing. So yeah, I just think that these properties are not properly checked. And the council inspectorate guy that comes out to check properties when there's a problem, he'd been out before this happened and said there was no problems with the house at all. Just after that, there was a gas leak, and then just after my son moved in, within a month or so, the floors started to give way. So these post-war 1946 Orlet properties, they need to stop offering these to people. I understand if there's nothing and you want to give somebody somewhere to stay for a month or so before they get a house, a permanent property. But as far as that being offered to somebody as a home, I think it's absolutely shocking, and I think that this needs to stop happening. When I spoke to the housing officer said, we're allowed to offer these to meet tolerable standards and particular standards, and I found out that the tolerable standards they're set so low that of course most properties are going to meet the tolerable standard when the tolerable standards are non-existent in the first place. It's quite shocking, really. And then I was told that they don't make the decisions with regards to what properties are allowed to offer, that it's down to the government about what, it's something to do with policies, and that things have to be changed at a policy level in order for something to be changed out, further on, if you like, and to do with that. So I asked who I contacted, and I got told to contact the Housing and Justice Minister, Scotland, which I did, which I got correspondence back a couple of times from them saying that it was not up to them and it was down to the council. And I'm like, well, somebody's not taking responsibility here. The council say it has to change at policy level before these things can be looked at, and then the government, housing minister and justice minister are saying it falls at the council and nothing to do with them. Well, when you even watch things like Nicola Sturgeon doing First Minister questions or anything like that, where she's talking about certain things, it's made quite clear that if there's a problem, you go to the council, and then they're saying that things have to be changed at a policy level. So then you're going to people like the housing minister, who are supposed to take on people's concerns with things like that, and they're passing the buck. And to be quite honest with you, I think it's quite disgusting in this day and age how somebody with such complex needs is expected to move into a property that, quite frankly, I wouldn't see most of those individuals living in. And then when you try to do something about it, you keep getting red tape. Because things being changed at a policy level would then mean that the council would have more clout with regards to certain types of accommodation being classed as suitable to offer certain people. And even my son's occupational therapist said things need to be changed at a policy level that would help my son, but also other people. So I think where that comes into the equation, there's a lot of faults there and a lot of things that need to be tackled.